you got to be careful on who you share your goals with, because the right people around you will lift you up. They will sharpen you. The wrong people around you will cause division and strife. And if you have something inside of you that says, I know I need to make a change, I know I need to make adjustments, you just have that sense, you have that feeling that God is speaking to you, you don't need the approval of others, because one wrong person can totally detour your life, especially if you trust that person, but maybe they don't have the wisdom in that area and you're going to them for advice. They could totally detour the plans that God has. And if you let the wrong people sow seeds into your life, seeds of doubt, the words could sow all kinds of things that really affect your life. This is why you have to be really careful on whose voice you listen to in these times, because the enemy will use our friends and family a lot of times to get us to compromise in life or to get us to go off track. And so you have to look at the fruits of the words that those people speak. It's always something I always tune into. How do people talk? What are they talking about? Is there a lot of complaining? I can't stand complaining. I know we all do it. It's hard not to when things aren't going your way. And venting about a dissatisfactory situation, that's different. But talking about chronic complaining, you know what I mean? The person who's just complaining about everything. Everything's just a problem. That's really heavy. It's hard to be around that. And so also look at the little things that someone might say that, there's something not right about that situation, that what they just said or what they spoke. So you got to be really careful. People always want to try to plant seeds in your garden, and those seeds can produce weeds. And it could be because they don't want to see you fail. They're intimidated by you, or maybe they just are ignorant and they don't know. So my suggestion would be, if you're going through some changes or you want to make some changes and you don't really know what to do yet, don't go telling everybody your plans and your business. You don't need their approval. You don't need their acceptance. You don't need them to be on board with it. It doesn't matter if they agree or don't agree, and don't feel like you owe everybody an explanation. This is, your life. You're accountable for your own choices, and this is your life. This is the gift that God gave you, and He wants you to steward those gifts properly. He wants you to press into your gifts. Your gifts might be different than your friends' gifts or their gifts, and they should press into their own gifts. But again, you're accountable for you. So if you are looking for the approval of others, you could really trade your purpose in life to get just for the approval. Be like, okay, well, now everybody likes me, but I'm miserable because I'm doing what they want me to do, and I'm not following what God wants me to do or what He laid out for me. And sometimes things look whack, totally weird. When we moved in here, everybody was like, why are you moving? Why would you live there? It's so expensive. Well, me personally, in the area of life that we were in, which is business growth and growing, for me, I wanted to position myself. Some of the best salespeople, a lot of people say, well, the best salespeople are kids. I think the best salespeople are the Costco ladies. If you think about it, they're there, right? They're not even aggressive or pushy, right? They have a homey feeling, and they're just talking quietly. This is on sale. Try these vegan meatballs, $5 off this week. Thank you. And they're just positioned. The difference is they're positioned in a flow where people are already in that mindset, and they just put themselves there. That's it. They're not pushing. They're not aggressive. They're not going door to door. They're in the flow already of the people that have the mindset to shop. And they give them a little taste. So a little taste of what could be. So you're tasting it, and then you're selling yourself, basically. So they give them a taste with the discount, and you sold yourself. And you bought something you normally wouldn't buy just because they're there. It's really smart marketing. So in life, it's more about positioning than anything, because either you're selling someone or they're selling you. Either you're selling or you're being sold. So when you position your life properly for whatever season you're in, for example, I personally, my family wanted to be positioned around people that were entrepreneurs. Where we live, there's a lot of people who are business owners, entrepreneurs. I wanted to be pushed. I needed people who were healthier than me. I wanted to be around people who were better than me, healthier than me, who had more money than me, who were striving for something, who knew about business, who I could lean into, who I could learn from. You could be sitting in the sauna and you're chatting with someone about business, like you're positioning yourself. So we are paying for the positioning to be here. That's different, because if you're in a house somewhere, you know, you have to look for it. You have to drive somewhere. You have to go to school to learn. You gotta, you know, or you could just watch YouTube videos or whatever. But what I'm saying is it's much more difficult. So this goes back to, you're buying your time instead of selling it. Now, are we going to live here forever? No, because it's expensive. Well, everything's relative, so I can't say that. It's not expensive for some people, but it's too expensive for some people. But whole nother subject. These are seasons in life. Most seasons aren't meant to be lived for your whole life. There are periods of time where you grow and you learn, and you have to be willing to take what you learned in that season and then know when it's time to move into another season. And specifically, if you're in a busy season, or you're in a season where you're growing and you're building and you're really, you know, you're at your max, the next season after that's probably going to be more of a rest season. That's the way God works. It's such a beautiful rhythm that you go in. It's like the tide comes in and the tide goes out. So you might be in a grind season for a period of time, and then the season after that, a different rhythm. You're in more of a slower, nurturing season. So it just depends on what season you're in with your family, your age, your life. You know, 40s is like if I knew what I did now in my 40s, in my 20s, instead of wasting time going to the bars and drinking and hanging out and just staying up late, not getting rest, I didn't take care of myself. You know, you're chasing things, you're wanting to have fun. I mean, I was a workaholic, which was great work ethics, but you do get wiser. You get wiser and you realize what you were chasing you don't have even anymore. I don't have all of those clothes that I wasted money on. I don't have the stuff that I bought. I mean, I didn't care about it enough to keep it, and my style changed. So it's like, would have been better if I knew about investing and like building and having something, you know. The Bible says you devour and then you divide. If you're not devouring at a certain time in your life, you have nothing to divide later. So that means that it's the same thing as the seasons of reaping and sowing. You're doing things in the right season, not out of season. So there has to be a part of your life where you're devouring. So later you could divide. You have something to divide. You leave something for your children. You have something. So it does take, not necessarily grinding, but it does take you have to be all in. And I'm like an all-in kind of person. It's all or nothing. If I'm going to do something, I am 100% there. And if I'm not doing it, if I'm not 100% there, or my mind is elsewhere, to me, it's not fair. I know some people don't need to be like that, and they can function a little bit at a time, and they can do, well, I'm halfway there. I'm doing what I can. I like to be like, I am all in. Like, whatever it is, I'm obsessed at that time. And I like that, because there's nothing left over. Like, you gave it your all, and you know, I gave it my all. And if it didn't work out, it's not because I didn't give it my all. It's because maybe it wasn't for me. And knowing when to let go is one of the hardest things. So many times we are holding on to something of the past. We're holding on to stuff. We're holding on to a memory. We're holding on to a season, a feeling. You know, we're bonded to these things. And a lot of times we're bonding to bad habits. We're bonding to things that make us feel good, that are actually destroying us. I just watched this thing recently about addiction, and it was talking about, it wasn't even addiction, it was bonding. Basically, people are finding comfort in whatever drug or whatever they're doing. I think it could become an addiction because additives or things are addicting in your body, but what pushes that, what's really prompting that behavior, is the desire to bond. So you're bonding with things that could not be healthy for you. You know, a lot of women, they're bonding with each other on Instagram, and they're supporting each other because they want us, because that person's supporting them. So you got accounts that are supporting accounts, even though you're like, okay, I'm supporting behavior. There's certain accounts I won't support because I'm like, I am not going to support that type of behavior. I'm not going to support that chronic push and pressure to buy junk over and over and over. That I don't want to support, and I just unfollow. And, everyone always gets their feelings hurt when someone unfollows them. If someone unfollows me, I'm like, whatever. Well, I'm not your cup of tea, so you're not following me. I'm not going to, whatever. Like, we all choose on where we're putting our attention. And so if I'm on Instagram and I'm following somebody and I'm like, man, every time I'm on their page, they're just showing some stupid junk. I mean, these plastic bunny topiary things from this past season, how much money you're going to waste on that? And a lot of them they're buying a plastic ball, getting wire and making their own bunny topiaries, and then putting a ribbon around it and setting it on a planter. They're like, look what I made. Save your money. Like, quit buying stupid junk. That's the biggest epidemic in the home decor world on Instagram, is stupid junk, buying junk, and then you putting a song to it that you think is so cool. It's like a leaf blowing with a really great song, and all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, that's the coolest leaf in the world. Look at how it's blowing. I mean, that might be a little exaggerant, but that's the thing, is it's like they put a stupid song or a upbeat song. It's like, oh yeah, this is so awesome, to make this ridiculous item look better than what it actually is, to try to trick the person watching and be like, wow, that is so cool. And it's not. It's still junk. It doesn't matter what song you put to it, how cool and upbeat that song is, or how trendy. In the stupid audio that's like, I love stuff. I love this kind of stuff, that kind of stuff I don't need. And then you scroll, everybody's using the same audio on about their stuff. And they're like, oh yeah, this is just an excuse for me to then say, I love all of this ridiculous stuff. Quit wasting your life on meaningless garbage. You're working to earn more, to then trade it for something of a much lesser value. You're trading your health, your life, your time. Anyways, that's another subject, but very passionate about that. You want to live your life to the fullest, and there's a time and season for things. And you got to be willing to make the adjustments in the seasons and not stick around into the old season, not get sucked into something. That way you're not living the same year over and over. You're able to step into something fresh and new at any given time. That's God's desire for us, is that we are mobile enough and healthy enough to do what he's called us to do. He says that the harvest is plenty, but the workers are few. Part of that could be because the workers are asleep and they're too focused on their own self, or they're not healthy enough to do the work because nobody's taking care of their health. And so snapping out of all of this trend chasing and all of this toxic relationships, manipulative, that's a whole nother thing, manipulative people, relationships, epidemic of narcissistic people, and all of this. Like, one of the things I pray for daily is wisdom and discernment. God, give me wisdom and discernment, because I have been wrong about people before. And then I've shared with them details of my life, and they've turned around and exposed them, especially if you're going through a hardship. When you're going through a hardship and you share that, the wrong people will take that hardship and they'll expose it to other people. Sometimes people that don't even know you, and sometimes close people, to get them to be like, can you believe what they're going through? Well, everybody goes through a hard time at some point. I don't care if it's business or health or marriage or family. Like, let's be real. There's difficulties all the time. And so if you're vulnerable enough to share it with people, which I like to share things, and I like to, I don't like chit chat. I don't like surface conversations. So I want to know, what can we do to help each other? How can we sharpen each other? And that can be a really big downfall, because again, people use it against you. So you got to be careful on who you share details with if you're going through some changes in your life, especially if you're ready to make some different moves than you've normally made. Because again, the wrong person will not only talk you out of it, they could throw boulders in your way and make it more difficult. So don't feel like you have to share everything as you're going through it. Wait until you're done and then share, if you want to. But be mindful. Sorry about the wind. Let me pause here. It's okay to be a little obscure sometimes and to be private sometimes as you're going through changes in life. And look for people who have what you want, like who have done what you've done, and ask them for their advice to navigate through something. You can always learn from somebody, but don't ask people their advice if they don't have what you want. Don't seek the opinions and advice of people who have never been there, never done it, they don't know, and they're just going to tell you what they think. That's where you're going to get all kinds of fuzziness, and that's where you could really open up the door for doubt and uncertainty and fear. And then fear becomes the deciding factor, and fear starts to control your decisions. So you're either moving in faith or you're moving in fear. You're entertaining one or the other. And remind yourself, I got this. It might not be easy, but I got this. I'm going to do it. Like, believe in yourself that you can make the changes to live the life that God has for you. And you're going to do the hard things. It might be hard for a while, but you're going to do it, and you're going to get through it. And you're going to know that there's a blessing on the other side of it. You're doing it for your family. You're doing it for your children. You're willing to let go of the destructive cycles, the addictive things, and the things that aren't serving you. You're willing to let go of those lower things so you can come up higher and take your family with you. If you don't do that, time's going to just keep passing. I mean, we're literally almost halfway through the year already. It's so crazy to think that people think 2025 just started. I got my New Year's resolutions that I haven't started yet. I haven't done this. We're halfway through. I mean, I don't know what it is, but time feels like it's accelerating quite a bit. So you got to get going. You have got to get your house in order. Get your life in order. Get things in order.